Right, and welcome back before our final round of the first stage, the main stage. And then we will be getting to top 16.
This round is just about to finally finish the last extra turns that are given to players who are finishing their matches. And how are you feeling, Izzy?
Well, like the last game, that was just crazy. I loved the first sliver deck. I was just flabbergasted by the whole concept and by the whole idea of it.
Usually, when I see some decks played on the feature match, I have played those commanders. I have played against those commanders multiple times, so I know exactly what to expect. We have decklist, but even the decklist itself, even we have it, they are just names of cards, and you cannot comprehend fully the strategy of the commander.
I think it is the fact that we were not looking for Tybalt's trickery. If we would find Tybalt's trickery in there, we would probably get it.
Yeah. Well, I have seen first sliver in the metagame, in the MTG top 8, some lists. I have seen it played also as basically like the common sliver variant. That also worked pretty well, and because you played your commander, that cascaded into sliver, that cascaded into other cards.
Just fair magic, basically.
Yeah, but these types of variants, I have seen the Nifmizet with cascading towards living and cycling, not unlike the modern deck variant.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's also true, like I enjoy the fact that there are some people who are going after the 5-color decks. It's not super common, I would say, like to have the biggest representation of our Wooburg friends.
Not nowadays, but a few months ago, Nifmizet Reborn was one of the most powerful commanders.
You're right.
Using the best 2-colored multicolor spells ever printed.
Yeah, just the guild support for those 2-color pairings.
Huge flying threat in the command zone.
Yeah.
Also refill to your card. Not unlike the Atraxa, for example. But
that was my idea. Like this looks very much like Atraxa.
Yes, but it, after all, is, even if it's cheaper, it's not that good of a body.
Yeah,
and the Atraxa is not so fettered by its triggered ability.
Yeah.
Because Nifmizet, even if the variants were finally built ultimately towards also a huge number of just blue counterspells, and only a portion of the deck was multicolor cards, the Atraxa could pivot almost fully towards counter magic,
just
removal spells.
Complete control.
Yes.
Yeah, deep control. Right.
Having a few of those payoffs haymakers
right.
along the way.
So you would say that Atraxa version is much better than like what the Nifmizet was trying to achieve?
Right. Even the fact that Atraxa works much better for the Dream Halls combo.
Absolutely.
Because when you face the Atraxa, you count the mana your opponent have and say, okay, 5 mana, 2 more turns, I'm okay. I don't need to worry. But they can just tutor or just play right away. Dream Halls at the game can be basically over.
Absolutely. We explained some loops that you could basically go through, that you always find a flick for Atraxa and cards to just go through.
Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi Time Reveler, they all put
they bounce
creature in your hand, so you can recast Atraxa and go again. Now for the final round, I think we could have some interesting commanders.
I'm still expecting, well, we will see actually, because there is something that is quite common at big tournaments. I think you've been in the position quite sometimes, I've been in the position quite sometimes, that you don't really play out your final rounds.
Yeah.
Because it's much more advantageous to just, take the split. Just take the time off, agree on a tie, and you will both qualify for top 16. So we specifically asked to have players at feature match who will actually be competing for their spot in the top 16.
So this is incredibly interesting and exciting.
Both players have a lot of the line.
lots of prizes on the line.
Absolutely.
And also the title of the Czech Championship.
Well, yeah, they are
Dual
still
commander.
fighting for their place to be there.
Right. We are
Yeah,
setting
yeah.
the
There is just
game as
set
we
up.
speak.
Right, just to see where the borders are.
I see blue.
And I see
I'm feeling
blue.
Tamil.
Well, I see Vendelion.
No,
Aragorn.
Aragorn.
Okay, Aragorn Grand Unifier.
Here to unify.
No, King of Gondor, that's the name. Right? Aragorn,
Yeah, yeah.
King of Gondor. Grand Unifier is, I think, Atraxa, right?
It's the 4-1.
Yeah, the 4 mana cost, yeah.
Yeah. The 3 mana is not unifying anything.
Yeah.
It's here.
He's just a king.
Yes. To be crowned and go for the win.
Yes.
And who we are up against?
Do we have a mirror? We do have a mirror,
We
yes.
might slightly fix the
Actually.
flick.
Yeah.
So we can see.
Well, there is the glare, but we do know
Yeah.
it's Aragorn against Aragorn.
Yeah, but we can fix the glare somehow.
I can ask them.
Yeah, thank you. Right, so this is kind of what I was dreading. If I would, if I have Aragorn and compete in such events, I think the mirror is the best.
Yeah, it's not
Mirror.
better. That did not
Yeah.
help. Okay, we will just have to wait for Aragorn to hit the table.
Yeah, he's hidden now. He's
Yeah.
hidden in the glare.
Yeah.
He is in the spotlight.
That's right. But as both players mentioned, just as I pop to the next room, this is their first Aragorn mirror they played today.
Okay.
Maybe even ever. I'm not sure what they meant by it.
I don't believe so, because Aragorn is not that uncommon.
Yeah, but maybe they just did not see
You
meet the Aragorn.
Yeah, it's recommended to consider like training for the mirror matchup, because it also the fact that you cannot rely on single like good matchup, bad matchup.
Right.
You only have to the chance, your deck, what provides, and also how well you can play.
Absolutely. It's about the consistency and it's about the sharpness of your play. Absolutely right about that.
And outside, in comparison to, for example, Yoshimaru mirror, this I don't believe it is so advantageous to go first,
You're absolutely
because the other player usually have more answers.
Yes.
And you cannot just slam Aragorn turn 4
Yeah.
and thinking it's a good idea.
Yeah, just
because
I'm the only king in here,
Yes.
right? You're not.
what
I'm
usually
sorry.
would happen in this situation is that Aragorn gets answered, the other player plays their Aragorn, draws a card, and has both Monarch and their Aragorn firmly in control.
Absolutely.
So what we're gonna see here is to really tight, really skilled gameplay of both players decide if they want to somehow push the tempo
Yes.
or play for the value and try to out-control, outreach the opponent.
Yeah. And I think that it's gonna be a lot of value, a lot of grind, a lot
Okay,
of
and we go.
subsequent advantages. And now Christian has started his first turn with Arid Mesa. And
To answer the
now-
comment,
Yeah.
we have a final round of the base
Yes.
set of
Is this round 7, which is the final round, and then there will be the top 16 of the best of the best.
and both players are competing. We have Christian against Felix, German content creator,
Okay.
makes dual commander videos.
Fantastic.
So you can bet on him having the experience.
Well, definitely, but I would not go against Christian. I think that Aragorn players are usually quite experienced in that, and I think that the kinds of
They are the kings after
they
all.
are kings after all, kings of their own game, and I would not go against the king. I'm not sure who is the true king. I think we
Well,
will
if you are
decide
king
today.
yourself, then you can go up against your king.
Well, there can be only one monarch, right? So we will see how this matchup
Only
goes.
one player can have the emblem.
That's absolutely true.
thingy.
There will be a lot of fighting for the
Yeah.
monarch emblem or the monarch ability token.
Yeah.
Because both players will also gain advantage.
Felix
Due
might
to
say just plays fast land, Christian went for the fetch into a surveil land.
Yeah, and there was the surveying away, but we are not really able to see what card it was because it's
Seacrown
outside of
Coast.
our coverage.
Yeah, Seacrown Coast again.
Okay, and just
it
passing.
seems that we have this value control-ish.
Absolutely, both players will probably be fighting on Razor's Edge and just passing and passing. Nobody wants to jump into the other player's counterspell or interaction.
Unless, of course, they have some kind of perfect card that has the edge over the...
You're right, and now we'll see
Christian.
the start.
Okay,
White Plume Adventure.
scratch that.
Yes.
Christian is not afraid.
He's not afraid, but he should have been because he got force spiked.
Yep, he got punished, but I guess it's a nice try because
definitely.
Felix is going to be on his third mana. If he had fourth mana,
Absolutely.
he could play Aragorn while his opponent stepped out. So
Definitely.
this was kind of a, when you have such hand, if you have threats and not many
Yes.
answers, you can just try to push it through.
Absolutely.
And the situation, it comes through, and Christian would become have initiative.
Yeah.
He would be in an insane advantage.
Definitely,
Yes.
definitely.
And since Felix cannot punish him directly by just, okay, you are tapped out, I answered your threat, I'm just playing Aragorn and running completely with the game, he can probably just untap. It would be funny if he played his first-time adventure.
It would have been, it would
It's
be
a
very
mirror match
interesting.
after all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It would be very funny and very interesting. Although,
see.
there was a surveillance on the side of Felix, putting away Inspiring Vantage
Yes.
and continuing his round. Now, there might be some free interaction on side of Christian,
Yeah,
but
as we
basically
saw in
he's
the
stuck
previous
out.
rounds, like with Marchesa, playing Marchesa, having days in reserve.
Absolutely.
But
And there
yeah.
is just pass
Yes.
on the side of Felix.
As I thought, they both just reset the situation, and the threat was answered, and we are back on the bot in the 0.0.
Yeah,
One of the players is gonna try to resolve something.
that's it.
Probably in their advantage positions, like end step, opponent's end step flash creature of some sort, and try to...
Okay, there is an attempt on
game.
Christian's side to try the Pyro Go.
Okay, either Christian
We will
has
see.
lots proactive.
Maybe that might be the case that Christian, that's a brainstorm on side of Felix.
Like all things aside, this is a very ballsy play. Like
Yes.
against
I-
Aragorn, putting threat after play.
Yes.
Yes, this is indeed the Blitzberg.
Yeah, it's a Blitzerberg from YouTube. Yes, exactly. Now, I absolutely agree. It's very ballsy play because it's probably the case that Christian just has a lot of threats, maybe not a lot of interaction. He's trying to stick something through.
And if he does nothing with no interaction, he can bluff it.
Yeah,
So he has something, but if the bluff gets called, he loses.
Absolutely.
And since both players are fighting for the top 16, they cannot afford to take all their...
just rely on chance, right?
Rely on opponents
Yes.
not calling the bluff.
Absolutely. Now we will see the resolving of Brainstorm. There is still a fetch land available, so those useless cards will be just fetched away.
And honestly, I fully expect another piece of interaction.
100%. Now, there is a counter spell coming in. I believe it's Mana League, maybe?
One of those
Yeah,
Amonkhet
it's Amonkhet
invocations.
invasion cards. I believe it's Mana League, but I'm not 100% sure if
don't
that
think
is the prince.
Mana League is...
Could be?
It has some big text.
Yeah,
so-
it is a counter spell because the
Yep.
spell was countered.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Some sort of counterspell. Sorry for the typo of his name. Yeah, but thank you for clarifying.
yeah. Thank you very much for clarifying that for us.
What's
Now
going on?
there is something happening with Fury. I'm not sure.
The Fury's furious. Oh, maybe it was flipped by a random.
Could be just unfortunate accident. So they're just like
Oh, it's
shuffling.
days. Okay, thank you.
There's been days. Thank you, or the card is days. Thank you
Days
very much.
works
Yeah,
too. Yeah, as I said, it is just.
it is
spell.
a counter spell.
Yeah. That's true. And whatever counterspell works.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Now we've got open and free space on Felix's side. He can basically
Adventure.
try to stick in
Or no.
True Name Nemesis. Now
Okay.
that is a doozy.
yes.
He still kept one mana open, but basically now Christian does not have a lot of options how to deal with this True Name Nemesis.
As we saw on the Christian side, like attempting to cast those interactions, the Nemesis is some sort of different kind when it comes to I just put my creature out
Yeah.
and don't worry about consequences, because Nemesis cannot be punished so simply
Absolutely.
as any other creature, because the Nemesis has protection
Mm-hmm.
from anything that the other player owns. So not only the Nemesis cannot be killed so easily,
Yeah.
also the Christian playing Aragorn would simply mean the Nemesis would just snatch the monarch right
Yeah,
away.
absolutely.
and
That's also
probably
very good
punish him
advantage.
very heavily.
Absolutely. Like the only possibility for dealing with the True Name Nemesis was to counter it on stat,
The Nemesis is
which
really
did not
good.
happen. Or potentially a board wipe, but I'm not sure if he wants to waste a board wipe for that.
Yes, and there is an Aragorn.
So we've got the Aragorn.
Let's see how well
Will
it's
it
gonna
go through? That's the question.
Also, I want to point out that the Aragorn, when the player doesn't have the monarch, it has to target to
Yeah.
make the creatures cannot be blocked.
And it
so
can't
the
target
true
the
name
True Name
Nemesis,
Nemesis.
as pointing out in the chat, is really
Yeah.
impactful, because not only it can come through unblockable and snatch the monarch,
But as you
dealing damage,
mentioned, it just
if it's
stole the
untapped,
Monarch.
the Aragorn without a monarch cannot get through it.
Absolutely. And also no life gain. Don't forget
Oh,
that.
and Skyclave
And
apparition.
Skyclave Apparition.
So not
Now,
only
Aragorn's gone.
monarch is his, but also dealing with the
Yeah.
commander.
Like, okay, there is a hidden 4/4, but still you need to get rid of the
No
Skyclave.
interaction on Christian's side, and let's see what he
I think that
can do.
Felix is in a sweet spot right now.
Uh,
Of course, nothing's
agree.
won. Nothing's won for him yet. But I'm not sure if Christian can really try to do anything here.
The situation with Aragorn matchups, and this is why I think it is not the most exhilarating or
Yeah.
like simple matchup, is both commanders obviously have lifelink.
Yeah.
So what usually happens that my Aragorn will hurt you, I will gain 4 life, I will gain monarch.
Absolutely.
Your Aragorn will hit me, you take the monarch, you gain 4 life,
Yeah,
etc.,
yeah.
etc., etc. Until at least the Brokes.
Yeah, but and here is just a pass on Christian's side, so
Well,
he just played a tapped land and
That
that's it.
is kind of expected,
Well, yeah.
because whatever he plays, Nemesis gets through, and
Absolutely.
Witzelberg can get far and far
Yeah.
forward. But if he has interaction, he can do most likely at the end of Witzelberg's turn.
Yeah,
to-
there will be some attempt to deal with. No attempt, just take 5.
Well, yes,
Okay.
either he has nothing, or as I said, he really plans on doing something on his
Yeah.
end step. So he, taxes his mana
Yeah.
as well as possible, and gives him the smallest window of opportunity to do something.
Absolutely.
And we got end step, I believe,
I
or reaction to
think
the
so.
monarch trigger. And
Yes, and there is Hull Breacher.
yes, a very good card against the monarch.
Yeah, a fair magic once again.
But
Now let's see
have
if it's
Reprieve.
reprieve as a reaction to that. So we'll see if reprieve resolves, attempting to return the card.
Yeah.
It did resolve.
Felix will get additional reprieve.
And then there is the Fairy Mastermind.
Oh, and but after the draw,
Interestingly, after the draw,
oh
but
my.
there is Mana Tide to seal the deal.
did he really played it before?
It could have still
resolved,
worked with the. It could have still worked with the Monarch, right? The Mastermind would still draw him a card with Monarch.
No, because it wasn't his second draw for the turn anymore.
That's true.
Because
That's
the reprieve
true.
was second and the monarch
That's
was,
true.
would be
That
third.
was a little bit of a mistake.
Not just that, but if he would play it before the reprieve would
Yeah.
resolve, then he would not have maybe the mana tide.
We
maybe
don't know.
He draw.
It's true.
right.
It's true. But the mana tide basically allowed us not to care about such a thing.
I think in this such a really important match, the Christian might be a little out of mind.
Might be, but
It is
you
round
need to
7
be
after
as-
all,
You need to be as sharp as possible now. Here, this is the moment, and this is the match where you really need to be as sharp as possible to
I
get to
believe
the top
the
16.
mastermind should be played after before the
Yeah,
reprieve is
it
over.
should have been, but
Let's see
It did
if
not
there
happen.
is something else Christian can do.
now I'm not really sure if there is a lot that Christian can do. Especially, remember
Incredible
that
backup situation.
Felix is still drawing 2
And
cards a turn.
He could spend almost all his mana casting Aragorn, but that doesn't do much because
It doesn't
Nemesis
solve
hits you
anything.
right away, takes your
Right.
Monarch back, and Felix didn't even have to cast Aragorn.
Absolutely, and he would also give up all of his interaction. He would also give up the mana, and Felix could potentially just beat him with a simple counterspell
Yep. Which
or
more
a
likely
removal spell, which he
has.
most likely has.
After all extra cards drawn from
Yes,
the Monarch.
absolutely. There is a very nice state for Felix. I'm not really sure if there is a lot that Christian can do to recover from this.
Well, he still has some cards in hand.
Okay, there is Malcolm coming in, attempting to block.
Well, maybe. Considering it is before combat, I believe. he
Yes,
does.
there is the attempt, and there is a successful block, which will result in 3 damage to Christian
Yes.
and a 4/4 coming to Christian's side of the board.
That was something, definitely, but doesn't really put him in the lead.
And it does not solve the
Unfortunately,
true name
because
Nemesis
you-
problem.
The Skyclave apparition just did its thing. It exiled the commander. Okay?
We should remind them that there should be the apparition.
No, it's not because
Is there a
it's-
problem?
No. The apparition is on commander, and if it's on commander, it doesn't make the token.
Because it did not get exiled. Right. I'm
it did
sorry.
get exiled, but,
but-
it went
Yes,
to the
but
command zone right away.
yes, but actually no. I'm sorry, guys. I'm
Nothing.
sorry because the rules are so simple. I just get them messed up from time to time.
Never mind. I'm glad that you are so aware of the situation.
At least I'm
You-
eager to try
Yes,
to
yes,
help.
yes.
Although my idea still stands, even though this is even worse for Christian, that there is not a lot that he can do to survive in this situation.
And we even see the Aragorn
Yeah.
to have a little next turn on board.
Absolutely, and there is Hullbreacher coming in to maybe deal with the Monarch, but get just
By
the treasure.
not denying a single draw,
Yeah.
it doesn't do anything.
That's
because
not enough.
Hullbreacher in this situation, it cannot attack, it cannot block.
Exactly.
It is like completely useless.
It's just a treasure and a 3/2.
The most it can do is bluffing attack and either claiming the monarch or forcing Aragorn to block and bait him with some kind of a removal, like a
Yeah.
Dojo or something.
It's potential. Christian will now check the top of his
So
library.
Christian won't die next turn. I don't see any like mainland. For
No, not
example.
really. There are no manlands on
Player's
Felix's
side.
side, but Christian will now do the surveil. So maybe he'll try to find something,
Is there anything?
something.
Hole.
Portable hole, not good enough in this situation.
Not good against 4 mana creatures. and
Absolutely.
3 mana protection for everything.
Yeah, that does not really solve anything. So he chose to put it in the bin. That's
But
absolutely
you
reasonable.
can play it, but
Yeah.
I believe you have better draws in the deck.
Absolutely,
in this situation.
absolutely.
And
I would like to see Christian to fight back, but there is not a lot. He's playing his Aragorn,
Aragorn.
stealing back the Monarch. Well, it will allow him to block next turn,
The Aragorn on with one of the
which
creatures.
means, well, one of the creatures which will be the Hullbreacher.
Yep. Unless Felix have something.
If Felix is able to get rid of the Hullbreacher okay, yeah, Lithomancer's Barrage, I believe
Yep.
is the name of the card.
5 damage.
Yeah,
uncounterable-
it's uncounterable. It deals 5 damage to a white or blue creature. Now it basically deals with the Aragorn right away.
For 1 mana. It's
for
a good
1
card for the situation.
Fantastic in this situation, but it still does not solve the true name Nemesis.
Well, the Christian is at least in better board
Yeah,
position.
he's not dying
But,
this turn.
well,
most likely.
There is a real chance.
Yes.
Felix
Just
have anything to deal. Paraguay, for example.
Pyroglyph. It is an option.
That is something.
To seal the deal, and
Yep.
it seems like
We can
Christian is just
go game
skipping.
two.
And we
It
will
was
be
too much.
moving to game 2. The overwhelming presence and the overwhelming force of True Name Nemesis, I believe, was something
Yeah.
that really pushed Felix to the winning side.
So what happened?
This turn.
Christian tried to put on the pressure first by
Yeah.
playing those threats in the case of
The White Plume Adventure and the
Exactly.
Pyroglyph. It was
Pyroglyph.
brave. It was very brave to try that.
yeah, both have been dealt with, and there was the Aragorn on Felix's
Absolutely.
side that went unchecked.
Absolutely.
And
And Felix
by
had just the right answers for those
blaming
threats.
the
Yes.
monarch started to gain the card advantage, resulting in him putting in the lead. And also the True Name Nemesis also was incredibly game changing.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Now we will see if Christian will be able to come back from this 0-1 loss.
A really tough situation.
It is.
There was that most likely misplay with the Fairy Mastermind.
Yeah.
He played later than he should, and he is one game.
One loss away from
Yes.
probably being kicked out of the top 16. That's very much possible.
We have some sleeve.
Yeah, there is just a
That-
little bit of a sleeve changing that can happen, you know. Wear and tear during the tournament is quite common.
I don't think that Scott is in the checklist though. The wear and tear.
I know. I know. That's not what I was referring to. But maybe somebody tried to play wear and tear on his sleeves.
What I'm really curious about is whether Christian can really bank on the situation that he goes first. Maybe
We will see.
resolving something like Mother of Runes if it's included in the deck.
That should be. That
to
should be
put
Christian's
him
deck.
in the favorable position, and we could see the game 3. Yeah,
I would love to actually see the game 3 just to go through more matches and to have more fun. Honestly, I believe that Mother of Runes should be included in the list. It is part of the list.
That was just one example of
Yeah, I
something
know,
that
but
can
I
be
just believe
favorable in
that
this
no, Giver of Runes is not part of it. So it's
I
only
partially
Mother.
agree with the situation. You don't have that many creatures to protect,
Right.
and the fact that the creature itself can protect itself.
That's right. That's the
is,
self peel that it's got.
Yeah,
Yes,
and Giver cannot do that. Giver is vulnerable even the further turns.
absolutely.
Because the biggest advantage of Mother of Runes is if your opponent doesn't answer it right away, the following turns you need to either bait it somehow or
Yeah.
have two remove spells, etc. But with Giver of Runes, either in the following turns when it's not summoning stick and untap, you can still just kill it first and then deal with the second phase.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Mother
So
of Runes,
that is-
the self protection is important.
In certain decks, when you want as many of these effects as possible, it is perfectly legitimate to add both,
Yes.
or even the Skrelv, which is just
Right.
a slightly bit lower.
Step
even
mom, as we
because-
said. Step
yes,
mom.
yes, because
Phyrexian step
he
up.
cannot block and such. But when your deck list is so tight and you
Right.
want only the best effect, the Mother of Runes is miles ahead from the Given of Runes.
100%. 100%.
Okay, does Christian have a good way to capitalize on
Yeah.
the fact that he goes first? That's the question.
If I'm not mistaken, neither of players are attempting mulligan. Maybe Christian is still thinking that
I
looks
have
like
been
it.
monologuing, so I've completely missed that.
Yeah, I believe that Christian is still trying to figure out whether or not to keep his hand.
I think both players, or Felix, they both keep
Both
7.
kept. Okay, both kept 7. And Christian started with Misty Rainforest and passed. Now here is the new manland from
The Restless Anchorage.
that's it, Restless Anchorage, which is a
huge
nice
player in
nice
Standard.
yeah, in standard and in Pioneer control lists. It's
a
also
two-free-
quite nice.
2/3 bird with flying that makes map on attack.
Absolutely,
Right.
yeah, and it costs just 3, which is the thing that makes it viable because it's not like the colonnade, I believe.
Yeah.
The old good
The
old
celestial
colonnade. Yeah.
But the good old creeping tar pit is also 3 mana.
Basically.
That is why it's included even
Right.
sometimes today.
Right.
We see if the Restless Anchorage, but it is some kind of an answer.
And there's been a brainstorm on the side of Christian. We do love those different arts. Just to realize what is what.
This is Doctor Who, I believe, version,
Might be.
right? No.
It looks like Warhammer.
Yeah, sorry, it's Warhammer. Okay.
Doctor Who, Warhammer.
Slight difference.
it's sci-fi, sci-fi. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Universe is beyond just
Universes Beyond.
get it out of here.
Yeah, it is a brainstorm.
And in
No.
fetching.
And there is the Restless Anchorage on the side of Christian as well.
This is really a mirror match.
Yeah, we can really see the mirror here. Now let's see.
Restless Anchorage-
Brainstorm. No, it's not a brainstorm.
tide.
It's a tide.
Do you know what that does?
I'm not sure.
Okay. It does nothing because it's countered.
Ah,
But
well,
if it
so-
didn't,
okay.
you are going to search a plains card, any plains
Yeah.
card, with the basic land type in
Yes.
your hand. And if your opponent has more lands than you search for 2. So it is some kind of a search land
Yeah,
spell.
it's a nice ramp. Basically, 1 mana get 2.
It doesn't ramp you because it's in
Yeah,
hand.
I know,
but
I
it's, some like really useful card advantage.
Basically, yeah.
Because you really need the 4 and land drops to have.
And
4
there
land
is
drops.
True Name Nemesis again on the side of Felix.
Oh,
Now let's see if this
damn.
spell resolves.
It
We've seen the
shouldn't,
power. We've
otherwise,
seen the
yes.
power of it last time. Now there is just Fleya.
Felia.
Fleya
That gets dazed.
that still is not going to go through. Felia got dazed, and there is
Oh
dazed
my god.
as
Okay.
my lord.
Such a nice exchange.
It was very good play.
This is
very
exactly
sharp
what I
play.
want to see at the last
Yes.
match of the main set.
Absolutely, just
Fighting
the
for their
sharpest
lives.
place.
Oh my god.
This was fantastic
Days
play on the
back
side
to
of
back,
Christian.
And I know we all love the dog, but at the cost of countering the True Name Nemesis, it is a sacrifice well worth, I'd say.
We can say the dog was just a bit of misdirection. Absolutely, because he wanted.
And-
He was baiting. He was baiting a counterspell.
Definitely, I believe so. That's why it played in
Yeah,
response.
right.
So hey, I got failure. You got something.
Exactly.
Well, the Felix was, I think, like really stoked about
Yeah.
like countering failure,
Absolutely.
having True Name Nemesis.
Yeah.
In the dual commander, when you have 100 card decks and every card once, you just cannot afford to play around individual cards.
Absolutely.
You can in some
Absolutely.
situations, but in this one, I think it wasn't misplayed to.
I would have.
not
I
counter
would have done the
Felix.
same thing. Now Felix just passes third turn. Allowed Christian
Mastermind.
to play the Fairy Mastermind, which is
Hitting
going
for
to
2.
get put into the
hole.
portable hole.
Yeah, one of the like least amount of targets, as we saw the previous match.
Yeah.
The previous game, portable hole was kind of useless. This time also it finally got some good target.
Personally, I find the card very useful because it can
Yep.
target anything that's non-land.
And in the format full of Tamios and Yoshimarus,
Absolutely.
great card.
And no more lies as a response from Christian trying to counter the portable hole. Now this is like a nice new card.
Yep.
Fantastic counterspell.
It's a
honestly.
mana leak
It's
that
better
exiles.
mana leak. It's a good mana leak.
Well, costs 2 colors. This is kind
Yeah.
of rough for the cast, but still
Absolutely.
definitely
Well,
almost strict upside.
I'm very much of a pioneer kind of player, so
Okay.
we finally got
Yeah.
this kind of effect, and it's even better than the normal mana leak,
Right.
which really changed the way.
I think firing up a counter spell on this is fully justifiable.
Yeah.
Because the Fairy Mastermind is just such a good card.
Yeah, it's a card advantage and also a flying beater. I know the clock is not the greatest,
I don't think
But
that would
still,
matter
yeah.
this game.
but the card
But-
advantage is the important.
Right. Especially if both players are built about commander that gives you
Absolutely.
Monarch. And Monarch
Absolutely.
is usually a second card draw.
And we've
Oh,
seen
that was-
a mill on flesh.
No. It wasn't mill. It was a surveyor.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that's what I meant.
It was fetch into surveyor.
Yeah,
into fletch, into
survey
graveyard.
flesh into graveyard.
Wow,
which
that's kind of crazy.
is crazy because potentially if Christian manages to produce another red he would be able to cast Flage. I'm not saying this turn, but soon enough.
But the Flage is considerably
there is
in
another
the very
red.
place that he wants it to be. In the graveyard.
Yes, absolutely.
Just don't bother casting it at all. Just put it straight into the bin. So I'm prepared.
Exactly, it's much better there. And Christian just passed his turn with 4 mana open.
Right.
Worst case scenario, he can just activate the Fairy Masterminds, but he could also just try to play something on instant.
Well, the very fact that he does.
He just activated
that is kind of risky because
and Hullbreacher has a response
to punish this play.
Yeah,
I wanted to say that activating Mastermind is unnecessarily risky because the ball is on the Felix side of the table.
Absolutely.
Because you have a creature, your opponent doesn't. So he has to do something.
Right.
Otherwise, those players just watch each other with mana open and you beat him with your...
And now he just played 4 to give him a card and a treasure, which is such a downer. Now we will see what Christian does in this situation.
I'm not sure, but Felix, on the other hand, he misses his land drop.
That's absolutely true.
So he has almost a perfect card to answer this situation and in response to the activation.
Hopefully Felix will get to next land.
Yeah, but I kind of like Felix not having 4 land because it balances his advantage he just gets.
That's true.
So it makes the match more
interesting. Okay, we are
Restless Anchorage. Let's go.
Restless Anchorage into a creature and just attacking for 4. So Felix is going down to 12 and Christian will make a map token. Now 1 mana open. I'm not really a big fan of this play. It is very conservative. It's very slow.
Not even conservative because you are tapping 4 mana to deal 2 damage to your opponent
and get a map
token. Yeah. I don't think it was in this situation when Aragorn is about to resolve. There is gonna be a huge fight for.
And there is the land drop for Felix, so Aragorn might be coming out. Of course, there was the treasure as well. So now he's on 5 mana. So even the potential of using Mana Tide or Force Spike is just gone
for the Aragorn.
Right. So we'll see what can Christian do. Okay, so there is the attack for 3 by Hullbreacher. He's not basically capable of blocking those flyers, so why not go in?
Yeah, and considering Christian have to tap 4 mana basically to have a bigger clock than him, he races better, I would think.
Absolutely. We'll see. So there is Chain Lightning dealing with the Fairy Mastermind.
But
and it resolves.
Kind of that Hullbreacher is in the play, so the Mastermind just looks
it doesn't really do much. You're absolutely right, but still he got rid of one of the things that he could do, and there is still 3, potentially 4 mana for Felix for some interaction on his turn.
Yeah.
Or he could potentially just fetch into Surveillance at the end of his opponent's turn.
I think Felix understands better kind of than Christian maybe. Not trying to be mean, but anything that he now has a creature in play and he is 1 life lower than his opponent, but he has a very good creature that prevents or taxes a bunch of your opponent's cards. He's hitting you in the face with for free and you just cleared your opponent's board. You then don't have to do anything. You don't want to play a commander because it gives your opponent an opportunity to punish you.
Remember the fact, I was just about to say that Christian is capable of casting the Flage, although I believe that Felix is just prepared for that.
Right.
And maybe that's the reason why Christian doesn't really want to cast anything and just use his land bird, to just attack. Taking Felix down to 10. But it does not really develop the board
at all.
But also it doesn't really give Felix any chances to respond to it. We will see. Okay, after the combat there is the activation of map, exploring
the necessary lands. Maybe
He
that
got
the
a
Christian needs.
land.
Maybe this is the reason why he's doing
Might
that.
be, might be.
It is a very convoluted way
Yeah.
to do this.
Now
but
he's thinking
it
about
works.
taking 2, but he just lets the hollow fountain come in tapped and probably is passing the turn.
Yep.
Now Felix at the end of his opponent's turn fetches as we expected. We may see a survey land once again just to get some more information.
Since Christian is a game down, I hope he has something good to follow
Hopefully.
up on whatever Felix just
Yeah.
puts into play.
Because he really needs to put up some pressure, maybe even try to finish Felix off. But 9 life is still a lot, especially with a commander that has
I
got
would rather
life
suspect
link.
to finally get rid of the Hull Breacher. That
Could be.
really
Could
stumps
be the
game.
case, yes.
Definitely an interesting way. Let's see if Felix manages to punish his opponent being tapped
shall
out.
see. Okay, so there was the surveil trigger to put away Brainstorm, which was not really necessary for Felix. And now Felix is going to draw another card.
I think Christian's game plan main is hitting your opponent with the land, not having an answer. And once Felix taps out for something, for example Aragorn, he can finish him off with Phage.
You're absolutely right. That is an angle he can take, and the fact that he'll just be activating the anchorage means that the counter spells that are potentially in Felix's hand are useless.
Yep.
We'll see.
We saw 2 times the Christian activating the Anchorage and going in.
Absolutely.
Also activating the map token, which was like the best way for Felix to interact with it.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
it means that most likely Felix have no response.
Yeah, there is no spot removal for Felix. That's
Yeah, most
absolutely
likely.
true. Well, at least most likely. If there was, that would be some next level 4D chess kind of move from Felix's side.
So we get Hull Breacher in play,
Yeah.
but somehow the advantage still doesn't look in Felix's favor.
I
because
don't really...
We have 7 mana
Right.
on Christian's side. The play around the Anchorage apparently really worked. It went unpunished, and also it helped him develop on each land drop.
You're absolutely right, but we need to remember that the players are right now tied on life, which means that the Anchorage really needs to get the +1/+1 counter to make it count. Without the +1/+1 counter, there is no way for Christian to raise Felix.
Yep.
We will see if the style of plays continue, or if there will be any change on Christian's
Yep.
side. Okay,
This
there is the
Hieroglyph.
Hieroglyph.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it can mean he just goes face and tries to finish the game off this way,
It is an option. It's definitely an option.
and it's resolving as far as Felix goes.
We will see.
maybe.
They're counting the power,
That would
right?
be really strange.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, the power should be like 1, 2...
Some sorceries, of course,
3.
creature, land,
I think 4?
4 at least.
I'm not seeing anything more
Any-
special than instant sorcery creature lands.
Any artifact, any enchantments,
No.
any planeswalkers, right?
It's probably 4.
Oh wait, the hole, but it was exiled, so it doesn't count.
That's
right? Oh, and it went through, or what? Or Felix just
Yeah.
thinking about?
We will
Interacting?
see, we will see. There is Swords to Plowshares.
Or in response to the end of the
I believe it would be in response to the ETB, because then the power is none.
Not exactly. I believe it retains the last.
It
known
remembers, right?
value.
Yeah.
The last known value should apply,
Yeah.
knowing the power of the creature because it's undetached from. The,
You're right, Yeah, the
original
creatures
source.
remember it. I remember. Yeah, you're right. We would have to clarify with Judge, but...
Well, I
still.
100% believe Felix knows that. Well, he also takes the damage already. But
Yeah.
the Paraglyph should be in the grey
Exile.
that way.
Yeah, we should probably remind the players because it's an important...
Well, we might just remind since when it will be.
Well, it might be important with Flage,
Yeah, maybe.
right?
a bit
It's just a quick thing.
quicker, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Harbinger gets in. Okay. Well, nice.
Okay.
Situation corrected.
Yeah, quick
and we can
resolve.
continue. Meanwhile, just Harbinger went in.
To the red zone, trying to fight.
But the swords and plowshares happened, meaning Christian has like, oh,
And there is a Pyrogoyf as a response. But
wanted to
you,
say
but
that,
you were right.
Christian-
Christian stabilized with life, but he's not going to be stable for a long time.
yeah. Second Pyrogoyf about to change this equation. And
Well,
at
we will
least-
see about resolving.
Yep, maybe. Threatening to
Yeah.
put the pressure on again.
Absolutely.
Not
absolutely.
only lowering the life total, but also presenting another threat Christian has to deal with.
Exactly. Now, presumably, it will go phase. There is no other option. But we can still see the Christian has 3 untapped mana, and he kept a lot of things. Reprieve as an answer.
Well, to the Halbreacher though, it is not so sweet as it.
Well, there is the No More Lies as an answer by Felix to counter the Reprieve. And there is the Manatites to
Wow.
counter
What,
the counter.
What a
Though
segue.
I'm not really sure that there could have been a little better play, in my humble opinion.
Okay. What?
We could have just did the Manatite on the Pyrogoyf to not give treasure to Felix, but that's just a little thing. Do you get the idea?
Right, because you counter the original target.
Yes,
and
exactly.
You don't get to draw a card.
Yeah,
hence,
yeah.
The Halbreacher.
Hence, no treasure, but that's just a little thing. Now, Fleisch is coming in because the board is basically free.
And Felix is presumably out of resources, out of cards. Interaction.
Definitely, there is not a lot of things that Felix can do in this situation,
We
and
were laughing about Flage like being so conveniently
right,
surveilled. But now it looks like, after this lengthy exchange, that the Flage might be what seals the deal.
well,
here.
definitely, and he can just ignore the Hullbreacher and just go face with the Fleisch.
And
It is an option,
exactly.
because
And that means
yeah,
the next effect is lethal.
absolutely.
No matter if
No matter the
Felix has
blocks,
blocks or
that's
not.
that's right. No matter the blocks,
The Hullbreacher doesn't solve the situation. Anchorage doesn't solve the situation.
and yeah, he puts it
Felix
face.
needs
So
to have a removal spell.
Felix is down to 2, and Christian is up to 13 life
And have
now.
3 mana available.
And still with 3 mana available to back up his Fleisch.
What I firstly admittedly considered as a questionable play, with
Yeah.
attacking with the anchorages and
It
kicking
worked.
map tokens. Yeah, maybe because
It just
Felix,
worked.
like, didn't have any answer to punish it.
Right, as I was, and True Name Nemesis to probably seal the deal completely.
Not so foil and full art as the
Yeah,
first one, but
it still
also
kills
works.
people. It still kills people, Honza. It
That's
still
the
kills
job,
people.
right? And like the Flage itself would be really
Both of
hard
them
to
are
deal with,
lethal right now.
but the True Name Nemesis, it is like extra on top. I was assuming some sort of interaction to prevent dealing with the Flage,
Right.
but the True Name Nemesis is, in my opinion, also a really tough
Yeah,
situation.
and also remember,
Very
even if he would kill, let's say normal kill, not exile, the Fleisch, he could just play it again from the bin.
Yeah, enough cast in the
Yeah,
graveyard.
there is enough cards to cast it again, but there is also the True Name Nemesis. I think the only option would be our beloved card from way back in the day. You know what I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
Wrath of the Skies,
Exactly.
baby. It has to be a Wrath of the Skies.
Let's see if skies are angry enough.
Yeah,
or not.
well, it could be Supreme Verdict as well.
Or attack in
But,
the balance.
but it wouldn't. No, we need Sunfall, for example, because the Fleisch needs to get exiled. If it doesn't get exiled,
Or wrath into counterspell or some sort.
okay, but I'm not sure, like, how much mana does he have for that? Because
He
it
needs
would have
5.
to be 5 and
Plus
then
one
2
drop
left. Okay, he
and
would have
trigger
that.
or
Yeah, he
something.
would be able to
Yeah.
deal with that. But still, I think that's a dream. I'm not sure if Felix is such a dreamer to have those cards at hand.
He can also play Aragorn.
Well, he
and,
could.
Hope for some instant speed answer. through the Monarch
But
trigger.
what kind of
No,
answer you need?
it's
No.
the game 3.
It's game. There
As
was
we
no
wanted.
wrath of the skies. I will help Felix out after the game. Maybe tell him, this card. It's the new thing.
Is it even present in the deck
I
list?
don't even know.
So we
Well,
won't
that-
hope for nothing.
Yeah,
Can we hope for the Wrath?
it is not there.
Okay.
And as I'm saying, I will gently suggest to Felix that it might be an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Let's phrase it like that.
As he would
Well, at
think
least
about improving
that's
his deck.
Christian. Let me check Felix. It was Christian who does not play Wrath. I'm not even sure how to look for Felix. He doesn't have it. Okay, I'm being told. Yeah, it potentially doesn't have it. I might try to check, but we have only the names.
It is interesting because I have the card, but I haven't included it in any list.
But you've seen how crazy it is,
Yeah.
right?
I
Even
might
if without
rethink that.
energy, even
Yeah.
without energy, it's just a crazy thing.
To
Yeah, we
4
would
mana,
use-
killing everything for 4. You can also modify it, so it's not necessarily one like both-sided
Yeah.
symmetrical effect. It can deal with your opponent's board if
Absolutely.
it's over, leaving your untouched. As we saw in the Aminatu matchup,
Yes.
it leaves Planeswalkers untouched.
Absolutely.
So unless they are specifically what you need to be dealing with,
Yeah.
it leaves your Planeswalkers
But
untouched.
it
while
deals with
doing
everything.
everything else.
It's just a fantastic card, honestly. I'm not sure if you really need to play that. Because it's basically 4 mana, destroy everything that's 2 or less.
Yeah.
But it has the added benefit of destroying enchantments and artifacts.
As we talked about, there is not much board wipes in the
Yeah,
format
absolutely.
because you don't want to deal sorcerer speed in your opponent's board because
You're absolutely
they just
right.
play something else and you are behind as well. But
But if you can deal with everything at the same time,
except something you want,
right? That's true. That's true.
it
Now,
might be a point of contention, especially if Aragorn is a 4 mana, meaning he usually is bigger mana-wise
Then the Wrath,
anything
right.
else. No, not exactly, but the opponent's board.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So you can Wrath for free.
Yeah,
for
that was my
example,
idea, right.
Is Slamfoot's board and etc.
and you keep your
Yeah.
own commander. That could be very nice.
Or you can just play it for 3 mana and kill Tamio
exactly.
when it's not flipped.
Right.
Of course.
But still, you can kill Tamio and the clues.
Yeah,
It destroys the clues. There is a lot of option. Now, Christian will be on the draw in
It
this
leaves
game.
Tamio clueless.
Right. Yeah, she's clueless afterwards. Well, she's dead as well, but clueless nonetheless.
Okay, and now
now
Felix
Christian-
is in the lead
yeah.
by playing first,
And also keeping a fresh hand of 7.
while Christian mulligans, but as we talked, well, it is not as bad as
Absolutely.
having draw because you basically have the 7 cards. as
Exactly.
well.
In this matchup, it's very important to have the answers, not only to have as many cards as possible.
I would even say if you don't have a really good hand to deal with the pressure of your opponent going first, you should mulligan. If
Maybe,
you don't have perfect
yes.
7 because you still have the choice. And from the new set of hands, when there is such low consistency
Right.
in the singleton decks, you always have the worst card you can put on the bottom.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we will see whether or not Christian chooses to keep this hand of 6.
I trust and
I can-
hope he does because I don't want to have
Yeah.
one-sided.
It-
Game 3, last game of the base.
Yeah, of the base set
tournament.
before the top 16, and
Come on.
also the winner of this game is most likely going to qualify
Yeah.
for the top 16. We are not certain on the standings, but still,
This
this
is
is fight.
everything.
Yeah, this is a fight for everything. So only the sharpest plays and only the best choices.
Come on,
that you
give
could
us really, really tight.
yeah.
fight.
Now we are going to see Felix starting with a fresh hand of 7, and I believe that the first couple of rounds will follow the same style as before. So
Yeah.
just land pass, land pass.
I don't believe Christian will be as ballsy as on the first game.
Yeah, but he gave
his
it.
best.
He gave it his best. Let's be
Yeah.
real. Maybe he only had threats,
Yeah.
and then
Most
he
likely.
drew some answers. So he just tried it. Sometimes you just have to go for it.
Yep.
It looks like land pass on the side of Felix.
And no red mana, noticeably.
Yeah.
But Aragorn is a deck that doesn't need the red mana
It's
as often.
it's basically splashing red. Let's be real.
Not,
There is not so
I would
many
not
cards.
identify it as such, but
Okay,
it is indeed the least important color in
Okay,
the deck.
okay, we can agree on
I
that.
would, I would, I would say it like that.
Okay, well, it's a heavy splash.
Yeah, we have Surveil,
Yeah, surveillance, keeping top.
not milling Fletch anymore.
Yeah, milling flash was fantastic, honestly, the last time.
Won him the game. In the end.
Basically, yes. You're not wrong to
not,
say that.
not really right.
Now there is Qatar Commando coming from
Yep.
Felix's side. It's
As
a very
we-
nice flashy card that
As
we
we
can
said,
use.
the way
I really
for
like
players
Qatar Commando, it's
to
nice.
to break the parity of just passing land go,
Right.
playing it like a control deck, is to have a flash threat, playing it on your opponent's end step,
Right.
and forcing them to either have the answer and tapping out,
Absolutely.
or like letting the creature go and answering it in some further time. But if the game doesn't boil down to hit you with Aragorn heals 4,
Right.
hit you with Aragorn heal 4, then the life total, as we saw in the previous games, do really matter.
Yeah, they were quite important. Now we can see on side of Christian a fetch into another surveillance.
Just
into Thundering
digging
Force.
for the flage.
Yeah.
It has to be there sometimes.
Well, maybe it's in his hand already. Who knows? But you know, the surveillance really show their power because it gives you a lot of choice.
Yeah, yeah.
If you don't really need to use the mana at the end of the turn, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now we will see an answer, a mana tide as an answer to the
Giving it
Qatar
time.
Commando.
Meaning the Christian is now tapped.
That's
And
true. Christian is completely tapped out, which means
Can the Felix punish it?
Well-
or just surveils?
he'll just surveil. Maybe 2 mana something, but I'm not really sure if there are many 2 mana
You
threats.
cannot really punish your opponent as so much
And
with
that's
2 mana.
Snare going to graveyard, not good enough for Christian to draw next turn.
For Felix.
Yeah, for Felix, sorry.
I believe so, because it is a really like very focused
Yeah.
answer, and if your opponent plays something 3 mana,
Yes.
it can ultimately lead you to be completely useless.
Okay, there is a Brainstorm. We already know the card.
Yeah, it's Warhammer.
Yeah, it's a
right?
Warhammer Brainstorm. Now we'll see if it resolves. It will probably.
Or resolves into Fairy Mastermind, for example.
We'll see. It could be nice. Well, it's just one card.
Felix, then.
Hullbreacher can come out, which is at least that. But there is
Wait,
reprieve.
reprieve on that?
There is a reprieve. Okay. Maybe Felix is digging in to find more cards, maybe even on the 4th land.
He is probably really desperate for the 4th land drop,
Might be.
which you really don't want to miss, because this means Felix is tapping out on the end of
Exactly.
his step. No, it was, sorry,
Okay.
it was main
That
phase.
was Christian's main turn, yes.
Okay, oh sorry.
So Felix is digging in. Maybe
And
he'll
the reprieve
find
doesn't
another
look
thing.
half as bad,
Yeah.
but still kind of sus.
Now
I must
he
say.
has got 4 lands. Now for 3 mana, White Plume Adventurer. Now
Oh,
I'm sorry to say that, but this is the first time we might
yeah,
actually
and
see.
it resolves.
We see the initiative for the first time in coverage here.
that's right. We haven't seen the initiative yet.
I would like to have some nice song for it, but we don't. Can we just yay? Riveting gameplay, as we call it. Magic, as Richard Garfield intended. Now, for those of you who don't know, read the card. It will explain it for sure.
Not the god itself, but the initiative token.
Well, that was my point.
And then the
And you need also the Undercity,
yes,
the
you
other
need
side.
all three
Yeah, it's basically like a novel that you read. If you have enough time, you will maybe learn what it does.
To be completely fair, I ironically love this.
I like it as
It
well. But
doesn't like mean Felix just instantly wins.
yes, we can see the Undercity now. The first
Yes,
is the secret
because
entrance.
It, in addition to the Aragorn and fighting for
Yeah.
Monarch,
There's also the initiative to fight for, but
Oh,
now
but-
there was Malcolm countered by Force of Negation. Sorry, Force of Will, exiling the Mantis
I was
Riders.
so excited for Christian taking
Yeah, and this
initiative from Felix.
that's true. This was Felix's way to fight to keep the initiative.
Yeah, definitely.
And the initiative is super important because Malcolm was a flash flyer. It could just steal that.
Christian now can play Aragorn, but
Is
we
it
don't know if
good
it
enough?
resolves.
There is the Brainstorm once again coming.
Okay,
Probably resolving. Yeah, resolving.
Let's see what it brings, because Christian is now in. You need to answer this.
He's
or
not in a
die
good spot
pretty fast.
because White Bloom Adventurer will probably receive 2 counters from Forge next turn, and then it will make Christian lose 5 life if Felix chooses to go for the aggressive line.
Yeah, the initiative do be like that, and it would
They do be like that. You're absolutely right.
and it would mean there are like 3-ish turns. Like,
Yes,
in the
exactly.
game. Well, Christian has to do something, and if he doesn't, like each turn he doesn't take the initiative from his opponent,
Right.
Felix gains another incremental advantage.
And if he gets down to the Throne of the Dead 3,
The Malcolm was such a
basically
nice
over.
attempt.
yeah, and
Because
it was very good for Felix to fight for it.
Claiming the initiative, giving the draw trigger,
Right.
presumably even resolving your Aragorn, meaning that you have the full board, because Aragorn in play against the Adventurer that is only a 3/3 is just way better.
And there is a flash coming from Christian side to destroy the White Bloom Adventure.
You said it. You cannot surveil
Right.
Pledge if it's in your hand.
Right, you can't surveil it if it's in your hand, but you need to get rid of that because
I like the potential because I love
Yeah.
the Adventurer was dealt with.
yes,
The initiative is also still very good.
it is good, but now he'll have to go through the more conservative, slower line, which is the scry 2, then make a
Not
treasure.
necessarily.
We'll
The 5
see.
life into draw can still be slightly better.
Yeah.
But most likely will for the scry anyway because there are 3 potentially 4 useful effects if we go the third instead of just 3 because the counters on creature is just completely blank.
Right. We will see what Felix chooses to do with
And to be
his
fair,
triggers.
the surveil is very important. Okay, we got the end of the.
Yeah,
Confirm?
we got so carried away that we were told here that we will be going into extra rounds here.
Do the players know though?
Okay, we will learn very soon, and the players will probably be going into extra rounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they players just went into
let's
extra
assume
rounds.
they know about that. I hope so. That. Okay, that makes the match even more interesting.
It will be
Because
very interesting.
If we said that whoever wins this is most likely in the top 8, that means that players have only a very limited time
Yeah,
to fulfill
absolutely,
this.
absolutely.
Not only they play against each other now, they
But
play
against the
against the
clock.
time and
Absolutely.
the clock as well.
I'm not really sure, honestly. They are on such high life totals, both of the players, that I don't even know if any of them would be able to just finish the game. I would say that I really enjoy Felix's game state at this point, but it would take more than just 3 turns to win.
It would with the adventure in play.
Yeah.
Without it, it is highly unlikely.
I would say, yeah, it's basically impossible in my opinion. Like, okay, let's say if it would be a long normal game,
Considering
it would be okay.
where
We will
we
see
are,
now.
I think the players didn't realize that.
I think they
in the extra rounds.
might just not know.
But if
true.
Christian would have the first round, possibly Fledge could get there.
We will get some information. So we were given the information that the players will have 4 extra minutes due to the fact that we had to move them basically because we were choosing.
match.
Yeah, we were choosing the feature match
Yes, yes.
so that we had players who actually basically wanted to fight.
Let's go.
So we still have time, and I believe, I don't want to go against Christian, not at all, but I do believe that the ball, well, the advantage, all things considered, is on Felix's side of the table.
It really will also depend on it. Whoever gets the first extra round.
Absolutely.
3 rounds versus 2 is such
Yeah.
a huge swing.
And that's
considering
also only 4
initiative
minutes.
is in the play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
Let's
there was the Lithomantic, I think, or Lithomancer's Barrage.
Yeah, Aragorn
Cast to
basically.
just get rid of the Aragorn, but Aragorn resolved, so I believe that Felix is now swinging with both the initiative and both the monarch.
Possibly not for long, because Fairy Mastermind is here.
Absolutely.
But it was in the main phase.
Yeah, it was just the main phase.
Don't surprise, give me both right away.
Right. I'm not sure what was the idea.
Dragon is
Maybe
presented by the monarch.
Yeah, maybe trying to push it through. Alright, so now there is a parallax wave on the side of Felix. Parallax wave.
Saying, hello, you wanted to finish in time?
That's right.
Think again.
Absolutely, and it's a crazy card, honestly. I do appreciate Parallax Wave being brought. We will see if the players will be... Now, Denik on the side of Christian. Very nice card against aggro decks. I'm not really sure how much it can do in this mirror match. Now, there is a lot of triggers. There is the initiative.
Simply put, Denik is a card that gets possibly exiled by Parallax Wave.
You're
and
right.
That is the
You're
end
right.
of
I think
his possible usefulness.
we don't have to think about him much more.
He's
because...
not really important outside of, I think, like Snap Custom Age. That's the only thing that managed to target the graveyard.
Absolutely.
It doesn't do anything against Phage, for example, etc. So
in my opinion, it's very good against aggro decks, but in this case, not super
lifelink
important.
Attacker blocker that has to then can be disturbed.
Right.
And that's it.
But we don't have to really care about him right now. Not super important. Now, we got the token, the 4/1 Menace, a skeleton. We are still moving to draw step, actually.
Interesting thought.
No, it was the end of the turn, sorry.
Maybe Monarch?
Yeah, it was Monarch at the end of the turn. And now, there is, I forgot the name of the card, but you're...
Unexpectedly absent.
Fantastic. And you're putting it on top.
Yep.
So just putting it away.
You
X
can pay X,
right?
And you put it beneath the X cards of opponent's
but honestly,
library.
2 mana, put it
Zeros
away.
Means stop. Yeah, good enough.
Good enough.
Forcing your opponent to recast it is just in this situation like completely fine and maybe like hard removal.
Right, absolutely.
Get it up to here. Not even put it in the graveyard to so we can just.
Right.
But as I wanted to say, the interesting thought: do both players in this kind of situations
and now
play for the win?
That's right.
They try to kill your opponent or just try to not die.
Yeah, and there was Wash Away countered by Manly. No, counterspell. Just a good old counterspell.
Wash Away, counterspell.
Yeah.
Interesting trade-off.
Well, Wash Away tried to get rid of the interaction, and now we get the counterspell as a result. It's still, for some reason, sticking with the lands, but it should be in the graveyard. We know about that.
What?
Now, it should. That's right. Now we've got the Denik and just pass, and that's it. Now we'll go to the throw. Yeah, that's a second extra round. Thanks for the dice by the head judge or by a judge we have there. Now we will go to the Undercity. And
do we have the last chapter?
We are going to the last chapter, looking at 10 cards and trying to find a creature.
Can it seal the deal? The dice presents that Felix has a second extra round.
I will ask, but I suppose so.
Okay. Skyslane, I don't think any light posts are in the top, either 5, 8, or 16, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would love to see Light Pulse up there, but we have only one Light Pulse deck that was registered. I'm not sure if the hero with the Light Pulse deck got there. I haven't really seen them up top.
I'm not really a fan of the deck. So.
Yeah, it's a bit of a solitaire style of deck. Now, I was just about to confirm that the blue die that we have on the table represents which extra turn it is.
Right.
So now it's second extra
Felix turn because he
yes.
is in the initiative.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, Fletch comes into play.
Flash. Okay.
That's Lightning Helix.
Sad.
Nothing better.
That's super sad.
Something that gives you a life. Cementing the fact that you don't die.
I know, but I'm not. Well, maybe there was just no other creature. That's also an option.
this deck doesn't play a lot of creatures.
Right, it can just
considering,
fizzle. It can just fizzle.
For lands, for instant sorceries, 1-2 creatures, it's like the usual. Right.
But I believe this will not really help Felix a lot because, well, he needs to recast it. Of course, that's an option, but he will not be able to.
Only next turn.
Right, that's what I wanted to say. He's only one more turn.
Then he can block, and there's still the Parallax Wave, but can he deal enough damage?
Yeah, now there is 4 damage coming in from the skeleton, that's for sure. Maybe also 2 more damage coming in from the flesh. Now Felix is going through his deck via a fetch land. But I'm not really sure how good are these decks at bursting down. There is Plateau coming down.
There is bursting down, and there's bursting down from 18.
Right,
Your opponent
right.
has to play.
That's the problem, and you have only 2 combats for it. Okay, he's taking away the Danik because basically the Parallax Wave can't really do more.
It's kind of unfortunate because Felix is in definitive
Absolutely
lead,
in a
driving
lead.
position.
Absolutely.
Both Monarch and Initiative is on his side. He went through the whole Initiative.
Exactly.
The other city.
Unfortunately, he fizzled a little bit. Well,
yeah.
the Flash, he can still cast it potentially.
If there was some hasty threat, for example.
He casted 4th Ellingus.
Okay.
Now that will probably do something and swing and seal the deal.
Well, for
my lord, can we just get 4th Ellingus there as a
5
card?
times plus
X was 5.
skeleton. That was lethal.
That was lethal.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
We were talking about
4th Ellingus. Forth.
Okay.
That's
Why
crazy.
not?
Yeah,
Let's
we've got
talk about being not able to burst down in any way possible.
Absolutely.
And Felix just proved us wrong
He
immediately.
proved us wrong. He just showed us.
Okay.
Here we can see on the coverage 4th Ellingus. It's a crazy good card.
For
I think X was 5, maybe more.
5, 6.
Yeah,
hitting,
5 or 6.
And then skeleton.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if he was dead immediately.
But the next turn, he could just do this right away without any problem.
Yep.
I really love that.
Okay.
All right, now we'll take a little break in between the normal stage, and we will be coming to the top 16.
Yes.
I'm very excited to see which players will get to fight for the right to be crowned the king, basically. Well, not really, but the champion here, and to see which decks actually got there.
Yeah, I'm interested myself.
All right, see you in a moment.
See you.
Bye.